Good morning. Welcome back in Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. We want to welcome in our Powerhouse panel for the very first time on this Thursday morning. We start with Project 21 National Advisory Board member and radio host Christopher Arps joining us. We're also joined by the former Deputy Press Secretary under President Trump and Newsmax contributor Hogan Gidley, and my co-host Allison Maloney is with me here. Panel, great to have you on. Good morning.
Morning.
How's everybody doing? Good? Hogan, CPAC, good time?
It was outstanding. People were fired up, happy to be there, and of course, looking forward to huge wins in 2022.
Yeah, I enjoyed President Trump's State of the Union address on Saturday night. Covering that here was fascinating. To me, that was really the State of the Union because he addressed the actual state of our union. Okay, Hogan, I want to start with you, and I just asked this question to General Holt, and I don't think we talk about Vladimir Putin enough, and I'm not hearing enough about this guy who's gone from, somewhat respected world leader, president of Russia for 20 years, to just common everyday thug on par with Saddam Hussein in about 8 days. Today marks 8 days of fighting. This is a guy that controls more land than anybody else on the planet, including the president of China. He's worth an estimated $200 billion. Why this? Why now? And the most important question, the million-dollar question, what is the end game? Does he stop with Ukraine?
Yeah, look, I've been in the room with Vladimir Putin. I've been in the room with Zelensky as well, with our former President Donald Trump on the international stage. Both men had their various attributes, interesting exchanges with them and Donald Trump in private, of course, and in public as well. But Vladimir Putin, for whatever reason, seems to be taking a slow glide decline into some type of incoherent leader. I mean, he's talking about Zelensky being a Nazi when Zelensky's Jewish. He's now moving into Ukraine, obviously meeting some stiff, opposition there that he wasn't expecting. But he's pretty pregnant on this at this point. I mean, he's in the country. What is he going to do? Unless the world offers him some type of carrot to prevent him from moving forward, there's going to be a long, bloody, drawn-out battle. He could use nuclear weapons, as your former guests talked about in the previous hour. And so it's really anybody's guess at this point. But I can promise you this: it doesn't look good for anybody involved.
Can I just say one quick thing, Allison? And I know you've got a question. My brother lives down in D.C., so he's. They say Icarus got too close to the sun. My brother's a little too close to the center of power down there in D.C., but he called me and he said, what's your take on this? And why does Newsmax keep talking about Donald Trump, and that this never happened under Trump? And I was like, well, the first reason is the simple one. Trump is Joe Biden's predecessor, so that's the most easy comparison. Trump went through it with Obama when he was in office. But the point that I think is a good one is that Biden was elected to the Senate in 1972. We've got 50 years of intel on Joe Biden. Donald Trump was an unknown entity when he was elected in 2016. We don't have a history of his votes and things like that, his positions. And that served him well, I think, when it comes to foreign policy. Bottom line, this didn't happen, Allison, under Donald Trump. It's happening now, and I think there's something to that.
Absolutely. There's crisis after crisis under President Biden. And Christopher, I want to throw this to you because Sunday we were reporting about the threat of nuclear, right? Putin mentioned that word. So all eyes were on that. We were talking about that. Over the last few days, it's kind of gone quiet in the news. President Biden said nothing to worry about. Now, I know a lot of people are concerned and don't have trust in our government, don't have trust in what President Biden says. Fred Fleitz said we need to be concerned.
Right.
What do you think the president should be doing as far as talking to the people? Are we comfortable and safe listening to him?
No, and during the State of the Union address, he spent 20 minutes talking about Ukraine. But I can tell you, I didn't feel assured about his direction or his leadership. I think Putin wildly miscalculated the Ukrainian people's response and the West's response to this aggression in Ukraine. I think he has delusions of being a Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great, and he thought that the world was not going to do anything about it, that NATO and Biden were weak. And we're obviously seeing now that that's not the case. He's very desperate right now, but I disagree a little bit. I don't think that he's going to go any further from Ukraine. I think this is
why
the world's attention is so bad on. I think because of the world's attention is on this, and I think he has to worry about his citizens in Russia seeing this in their name and in protesting and causing him trouble domestically.
I see that point. You know, thousands of civilians are dying in Ukraine. This is a guy that doesn't really care. I love your point about Alexander the Great, because he really wasn't that great. He was doing the same thing Putin's doing. He was just conquering sovereign nations and countries and city-states, whatever they were called, you know, back when that was happening. I also, Hogan, want to put an end to this. You know, I know that they're considering classifying Putin as a war criminal, and I know The Hague is already moving forward with the trial process. We don't need to go through that process. It's like Nuremberg, post-World War II. He is a war criminal, just like the Nazis were war criminals. I don't need 2,000 civilians, and that's the number we have, okay? The number is probably a lot more, are dead right now in Ukraine because of the actions of Vladimir Putin. He is a war criminal.
Yeah, look, I think when things really begin to settle over there, you're going to find out even more information we don't know now, we can't get because of obviously some of the cyber warfare that's going on. Some of the reporting over there may or may not be accurate. We've seen some incorrect stories floating around the internet. So I think time is going to be even more unkind to Vladimir Putin in this instance. But as you just said, anybody who invades another country with the express purpose of taking them over and killing civilians, women, children, and of course getting rid of a leader through assassination or just through warfare itself is obviously going to face some problems internationally, whether he be labeled a war criminal or not. I mean, people are seeing what he's doing in real time, and they view them as crimes, and I think they're right to do so.
Great point. Allison, I want to play a quick soundbite from Republican Joe Manchin. I say Republican deliberately, but I say this because Joe Biden's got some problems domestically. Take a listen to what Joe Manchin had to say yesterday.
We're buying over 600,000 barrels a day of crude from Russia. We've been doing this for quite some time. We have to step up to the plate. That means basically reversing some of the decisions that have been made, but no leasing, not drilling, and basically cutting back. We need energy independence more now than ever before.
He's right, and he's a Democrat saying that. I mean, the problem could be solved, but Joe Biden refuses to go back on what he did. I mean, we talk about people dumping Russian vodka, trying to make a difference, right? They're taking it off the shelves,
right?
And the big
like
thing
if you don't
is
have a glass of, if you don't have a vodka soda or something like that, yeah.
Stop buying oil from Russia.
Right.
I mean and start producing our own, because then all of the other European countries won't be dependent on Russia. That is how you could potentially stop this. It is follow the money. It's all about the money.
If you're going to have a Cape Cod, you got to have it with Tito's.
Absolutely.
Made in Texas, right? All right. Yep. Hogan, sorry, we got to run. Did you just have a quick thought there?
Oh, I had something. I was going to say my old boss, Jim Talent, wrote an article in National Review talking about what we need to do with Russia, increase the economic sanctions, stop buying their oil, and we need to increase our defense spending and our presence in Europe.
Yeah, he didn't mention defense spending, but President Biden did not mention that in his State of the Union.
Didn't mention
either.
it once. By the way, Joe Manchin sat with the Republicans at the State of the Union, which I thought was fascinating. He sat with the Republicans on the Senate side.
Biden's destroying his state.
Okay.
He's destroying West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm with you. Panel, we'll check back in with you top of the hour. Great conversation, though. Christopher Arps, Hogan Gidley, thank you.